What's up, guys? Welcome to 4th and 25 with Jram. Hope you're having a wonderful Wednesday afternoon. I ain't believing what I'm about to say, but it's starting to feel like fall finally. Thank you, Jesus. Even though this weekend it looks like it might warm up a little bit before some rain comes in. But with that said, fall is finally starting to show its face here. Took it long enough. Welcome to 4th and 25. We got a jam-packed show live from a very nice Mississippi, I might add. Ready for more cool weather. Hope you're having a good day. All right, so we got a lot to get into, a lot to talk about, so let's jump in, shall we? All right, guys, so let's jump into the weekend review. Did you see Friday night what South Florida did to North Texas? Holy cow, 63 to 36. But let's go over it just a little bit real quick. This game was tied at 21 just before the half, right? So a muffed punt sets up South Florida with good field position, and then boom, a touchdown. Well, then after halftime, three quick touchdowns off of two North Texas turnovers kind of blew this game open as South Florida beats North Texas 63 to 36. Byron Brown, another great game for that young man. 245 yards through the air, three touchdowns, 82 rushing, two scores, which totals out at a total of 327 total yards of offense, five touchdowns. Phenomenal game. South Florida outgained North Texas 582 to 423. Forced five turnovers in general. In the last two games, the USF defense, guys, eight turnovers forced. That's really impressive. Very good. In their last four games, they've scored 229 points, 57 points a game, 57.3, and have 267 points in their last five conference games, 53.4 points per game average. Also 7-11 on third down. Very efficient job by the Bulls, but they blew it open right there in the second half with those three quick touchdowns off of two UNT turnovers. Great win for the Bulls. They keep on trucking. Looking forward to seeing them the rest of the year. They're definitely a contender for the G5 playoff spot if they win the American. But Memphis and Navy and Tulane might have something to say about that. But great win here, and we'll move on. Alabama. Alabama gets it done on the road, 27-24 over Missouri. Great game. Two really good teams. Missouri just finally got a good matchup against a really good team, and the better team won. Ty Simpson throws for 203 scores. Alabama 6 of 15 on third downs. Missouri 1 of 10. Good job by Alabama's defense on third down, holding the Tigers 1 of 10. Mizzou running back Ahmad Hardy, who's been tearing it up this year as the nation's leading rusher, held him to 52 yards. That's a phenomenal job by Bama's defense. Dijon Lee Jr. makes a big interception at the end of the game to win it for Bama. They held Mizzou to 330 yards, two turnovers forced, two sacks, 1 of 10 on third downs. The star of this game was Alabama's defense for me. What a job to get it done. It was a good game, though. Missouri opened it up and went right down the field and scored, and they just didn't quite go away. And they had a shot at the end, but couldn't quite pull it out. This was a good game, though. Another great road win for the Tide. Another great win for Kalen DeBoer. If Bama fans are still complaining about him, they'll never be happy. But good win here for Alabama as the Tide keep on rolling. All right, next up. This game was never in doubt. Ohio State 34, Illinois 16. Buckeyes get a road win. Julian Santos for 166, couple of scores. Jeremiah Smith caught a touchdown. C.J. Donaldson, Ohio State running back, finds the end zone twice for the Buckeyes. Defense was incredible here. 4 sacks, 3 turnovers forced, held Illinois to 47 rushing yards, 1.7 yards a carry. Illinois was only 4-14 on third downs. Ohio State really blew this game open before halftime. It was 20-3 at the half, and it just never was in jeopardy. Also, Ohio State linebacker, Orville Reese, 9 total tackles, 1.5 sacks. Good game by him. So, good win for the Buckeyes, and they keep on rolling, and in my opinion, look like the #1 team in the country until further notice. Okay, the big surprise. Did you see what happened in Eugene, Oregon? Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to take Indiana football serious. If you're not, I don't know what to tell you. Indiana 30, Oregon 20. What a win for the Hoosiers, for Kurt Cignetti's crew on the road against a top 5 team. This Indiana's defense, guys, 6 sacks, 2 turnovers forced. Oregon was held to 3 of 14 on third down, only 267 yards, 81 rushing. Unbelievable. It is year 2 for Kurt Cignetti, and the job he's done with this program is just it's insane, man. You go 11-2 last year. Your only 2 losses are to the 2 teams that play for the national championship, Ohio State and Notre Dame. And this year you're 6-0. You're 3-0 in your conference. The man is 17-2 so far at Indiana. Indiana's not a pushover now. If you think they're a pushover now, you can't quit. You can't get out of the past. Um, Linebackers: Aiden Fisher, Elijah Hardy, 26 combined tackles, 13 apiece, 8 solo, 2.5 sacks, 3.5 tackles for loss. Fernando Mendoza throws for 215 and a score. Um, Roman Henby, running back, 2 rushing touchdowns. Elijah Sherritt, the Hoosier star receiver, 121 receiving yards and a touchdown. Guys, Indiana looks incredible. This is a good football team. I'm not saying they're going to win the national championship, but they have already passed, in my opinion, 2 of their toughest tests. And now the Penn State game doesn't even look like a tough test, considering how far Penn State's fallen off the face of the earth. So this is a good football team. Take notice of Indiana, guys. If you ain't, I don't know what to tell you. But a great win for Kurt Cignetti's crew. Oregon, like I said, not a great day. Obviously, they were outcoached. They were outplayed. But Oregon will be back. Don't count the Ducks out. All right, next up. Florida, Texas A&M. Aggies roll 34-17. Marcel Reed throws for 234 and a score, 37 rushing, a score, so 271 total, 2 scores. A&M moves to 3-0 in SEC play. Their first 6-0 start since the 2016 season for the Aggies. Florida's offense was 1 of 10 on third down. A&M defense, guys, this stat is incredible. In the last 3 games, Texas A&M's opponents are 2 of 33 on third down. That's insane. What a job by Mike Elko's crew. 2 turnovers, 3 sacks by the Aggies defense. They continue to look great. Great win for A&M. They take care of business. Florida falls to 2-4, and Billy Napier's seat continues to bowl like a crawfish bowl. But great win for A&M. All right, next up, the Red River Shootout, as I still call it. That's what I will always call it. Texas 23, Oklahoma 6. Did not see this coming. Not gonna lie to you. I thought this would be at least a better game. Arch Manning, solid performance, 166, a touchdown, run for 34. Texas' defense holds Oklahoma to 258 yards, 48 rushing, 3 turnovers forced, 5 sacks. John Mateer came back from the hand injury. Was he rushed back? I don't know. It's not my place to probably judge that or guess that, but did not look good for Oklahoma. Malik Muhammad had 2 interceptions for the Longhorns. Ryan Niblett, a 75-yard punt return for a touchdown. This is the first time that Oklahoma's lost 2 straight to Texas since 08 and 09. But anyway, Longhorns get a much-needed win and get back into contention. Remember, they got 2 losses. One of them in the SEC, though. We'll see what happens the rest of the way. Remember, they still got to play Georgia. So, a good win here for Texas. They needed this. Texas 23, Oklahoma 6 in the Red River Shootout. All right, moving on. Good pace. Good pace here. Georgia, Auburn. Oh, boy. Georgia gets the win, 20-10. That's not why I'm oohing. You probably know why I'm oohing. It's the disaster that was called the officiating crew in this game because they stole the show. Somebody needs to tell referees that fans go to these football games to watch football. They don't go to watch them throw flags and hog the spotlight up. Because I'm starting to think referees really want to hog the spotlight up. This officiating was horrible. Auburn had a touchdown taken away from them. That ball broke the plane. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. That ball broke the plane. That was an Auburn touchdown, period, in my opinion. But look, that ain't the only reason they lost this game. They also didn't get over it, and in the second half, Georgia just took it to them. Gunnar Stockton throws for 217, rushes a touchdown run. C.J. Allen, 10 total tackles, a sack, 2 tackles for loss. Auburn, 11 penalties, undisciplined football. Neither team had 300 yards of offense. Georgia outgained them 296 to 278. Low scoring game, but here's the thing. If that touchdown counts, Auburn goes to halftime with a 17-0 lead and maybe has Georgia down for good. Who knows? So, multiple stoppages. Kirby gets away with faking a timeout. I don't care what anybody says. And I'm not the only one that thinks that. Kirby got away with a free timeout pretty much. He said he didn't call timeout. But anyway, Georgia was the better team. They are. I ain't gonna lie to that. Georgia gets the win 20-10. All right, next up. I saw this one coming. I don't know about y'all, but this one, USC 31, Michigan 13. Trojans win it at home. King Miller, USC running back, takes it for 158 yards and a touchdown. Jaden Mavia continues to look great at quarterback, 265, 2 scores for that top 5 passing attack. Makai Lemon, 93 yards receiving. He caught a touchdown. Bishop Fitzgerald, a safety for the Trojans, 5 tackles, a sack, 2 interceptions. He balled out. Michigan 2 of 9 on third down. USC outgained Michigan 489-316. So since USC's come to the Big Ten, this series is 1-1. The home team's won them both. I called this one. Guys, USC looks pretty good. Well, they got a big test coming Saturday. If they win this Saturday, you got to be talking about the Trojans as far as a playoff contender, in my opinion. All right, moving on. Good show. I picked this game, so I said I was going to review it if it was a good game, and here it is. BYU 33, Arizona 27, 2 overtime dandy in the Big 12. Guys, BYU to me feels like the most disrespected, underappreciated, overlooked team in college football. L.J. Martin, 162 rushing yards, a touchdown. Their quarterback, Bear Moschenmeier, 172 through the air, 89 rushing, 2 touchdowns. Parker Kingston had 8 catches for 117 and a touchdown. BYU outgains Arizona 430 to 384. Arizona was struggling on third down, 4 of 17. And BYU for the second straight year with a 6-0 start for the Cougars. They look good. BYU looks good. Holy War coming up with Utah this weekend, though. Should be fun. All right, our final recap real quick as far as individual games. Utah 42, Arizona State 10. I'm not shocked Utah won the game, but I did not expect this kind of a butt kicking. This was a butt kicking and then some. Devin Dampier, the quarterback at Utah, runs for 120, 3 touchdowns. Didn't have to throw the ball a lot. Threw it for 104. Remember, the weather was kind of crappy at this game. They had some showers and storms in the area. Utah's defense, 5 sacks, holds Arizona State to 259 in total offense. Arizona State 7 penalties. Sam Levitt missed the game with a foot injury, unfortunately, so Jeff Sims was the quarterback, who's well-traveled. He's been to like 4 or 5 schools. Blocked field goal by Utah also kind of took the momentum. But great win for Utah. They're right back in the Big 12 race. Arizona State, they're fading, and they're fading fast. All right, so let's move on to our players of the week. Let's get our players of the week up here, shall we? All right, so let's start with offense. Offensive players of the week, we've got Cameron Dickey, running back at Texas Tech against Kansas. This young man went crazy, 21 carries for 263, 2 touchdowns. He averaged 12.5 yards a carry. Also caught 3 balls for 16 yards. Next up, Devin Williams, the quarterback at Washington, 402 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, runs for 136 and 2 more scores. 538 yards of offense, 4 touchdowns, and the Huskies win over Rutgers. Desmond Reed, running receiver at Pittsburgh, had a great game for the Panthers. 8 catches for 155 yards, 2 scores, 19.4 yards a catch. As Pitt stuns Florida State. We'll talk about that in just a second. Running back Cam Cook of Jacksonville State puts on a hell of a game, too, as they beat Sam Houston. He runs for 31 carries for 218 yards. 7 yards a carry, 2 touchdowns. Couple more G5 ones. Wide receiver Landon Ellis of James Madison against UL Lafayette. 6 catches for 120 yards, 3 touchdowns. 20 yards at carry. He had a great game. And then finally, Troy quarterback Tucker Kilcrease against Texas State. He throws for 415 yards and 5 touchdowns. All right, so that's our offensive players of the week. Let's turn the page and do defense. Let me find my notes real quick. No, defensive players of the week. Let me make sure I got the list wrong there. Sorry about that. Here we go. All right, defensive players of the week. We got Aiden Fisher and Rolaja Hardy, Indiana linebackers. I talked about them just a little bit ago against Oregon. Both ended up with 13 total tackles apiece, 4 solo apiece. Fisher had 1.5 sacks. Hardy had a sack. Fisher 1.5 tackles for loss. Hardy 2.5 tackles for loss. Them two linebackers are studs, man, and they put on a heck of a game as they take down Oregon in a nice surprise. All right, next up, this is not a player. This is actually a whole unit. Texas Tech against Kansas. 9 sacks, guys. 9. They harassed Kansas's quarterback. David Bailey, 3 sacks. Romello Height and A.J. Holmes Jr. had 2 sacks apiece. Jacob Rodriguez and Terrell Tillman had a sack each. Bishop Fitzgerald, safety at USC. We talked about him a little bit. 5 tackles, 4 solos, a sack, 2 tackles for loss, 2 interceptions, and the Trojans won over Michigan. Chris Jones from right here in Mississippi, linebacker at Southern Miss against Georgia Southern. He had a great game. 11 total tackles, 5 solos, 2 sacks, 2.5 tackles for loss for the Golden Eagles, and they won over Georgia Southern. Desmond Purdell, linebacker at Kansas State against TCU. 5 total tackles, 4 solos, a sack, 2 tackles for loss, 2 pass deflections, and 2 interceptions, including 1 returned for a touchdown. And there's one more. Let me pull it up here. Here it is. And the Dane Tucker, defensive end at Western Michigan, 7 total tackles, 3 solos, 3.5 sacks, 3.5 tackles for loss. All right. And then let's put a wrap on this with special teams players of the week. Let me find. Oh, there it is. Okay. I apologize. All right, so we've got Ethan Sanchez, kicker at Houston. He was 4-4 on field goals, long of 48, made all 3 extra points, 15 points. In the Cougars win over Oklahoma State. Gabriel Placencia, kicker at San Diego State, 3-3 on his field goals, long of 49, made all 5 extra points, 14 points for the Aztecs in their win. Against Nevada. I don't know why that says Hawaii. They played Nevada. My apologies. Jacob Carlson, punter at Navy, in their win over Temple, 4 punts, 56.3 yard average, a touchback, 1 went inside the 20, long of 62. Kicker Drew Stevens of Iowa, 3-3 on his field goals, long of 49, 4-4 on his extra points, 13 points total. Grant Chadwick, punter at LSU against South Carolina, in their win, he had 4 punts, 55 yard average, a touchback, 1 went inside the 20, long of 71. And finally, from Wyoming, punter Bart Edmiston in their win over San Jose State. I think that was an upset, too. 5 punts, 52.4 yard average, 2 touchbacks, 2 went inside the 20, long of 68 yards. Okay, real quick, I made note of this and I completely skipped over it. Some other games that I made just a quick note of. I don't have the graphics, but Georgia Tech, 35-20 over Virginia Tech. Great win for the Jackets. 4 sacks by their defense. Georgia Tech, 6-0, guys. Miami, Georgia Tech, ACC championship could happen. We'll see. Tennessee hangs on 34-31 against Arkansas. Arkansas played tough, just couldn't get it done at the end. Good win for Tennessee to hang on, though. Bobby Petrino, not a bad debut, but he needs to win some games. Upset, Colorado 24, Iowa State 17. Iowa State's got a lot of injuries. They're piling up from what I understand. But this was a good win for Coach Prime and the Buffs. They needed that. Pittsburgh beat Florida State 34-31. Florida State had a double-digit lead, I believe. But Pitt roars back to get the win. Mike Norvell. Wow. 0-3 in ACC play. 3-3. They're falling like a rock. Is this seat getting hot yet? It's got to be. It's got to be. UCLA 38, Michigan State 13. Maybe UCLA just needed a coaching change before the year started, because ever since Foster got let go and Little Neuheisel and the other guy took over. I forgot his name. UCLA's looked incredible. They've looked incredible. They beat Penn State. Now they beat Michigan State. Is UCLA good? What's going on? And then, oh boy. Oh boy. Penn State, Penn State, Penn State. Northwestern beats Penn State 22-21. More on that in a little bit, guys. All right. So let's go to our next segment, which is my updated top 25 and my updated bottom 10. So let's start. Excuse me. Jram's updated top 25. Here's what we got. Just on the outside is Navy, and looks great. Got a good chance to be in there next week. Nebraska is right there with them. Big game with Minnesota coming up Friday night. We'll pick that game in a little while. All right, here's Jram's top 25. Hey, Ann Helen, thank you for the comment. I appreciate you. All right, here's our top 25. Washington at 25th. Really like this team. Quarterback's good. Running back's good. Only losses to Ohio State. No shame in that. Cincinnati 24th. They joined the list after the win over UCF. Not a pretty win, but guys, Cincinnati's in the Big 12 race. They could get to Arlington. Texas is back in at 23rd after the win over Oklahoma. USC welcome back 22nd after the win over Michigan. Memphis 21st. Really good team. I like them. They're 6-0. Could we be headed for that Memphis South Florida showdown? Utah's back in at 20 after the dominating win over Arizona State. I'm not saying Utah is the best team in the Big 12, but they could make a case as the second best or third best, as you'll see in a minute. South Florida, my top G5 team, checks in at 19. Offense is explosive. Defense is opportunistic. They look good. I know they have a loss to Miami, but that's nothing to be ashamed of. But they look good. Notre Dame checks in at 18. Got the big one with USC coming up Saturday night. Vanderbilt 17. The Commodores were off, obviously, this past week. Huge game with LSU this weekend in Nashville. We will pick that game in a little while. Oklahoma drops down to 16 after the Red River Shootout loss to Texas. I don't know what to think of Oklahoma now. I'm just wondering if Mateer came back too soon. I just wonder. Just my thoughts there. Missouri at 15. The Tigers don't drop very far after a gutsy performance against Alabama. They just come up short. Still a really good team, though, I think. Virginia. This team, maybe I have them too high. I don't know. 5-1, 3-0 in the ACC. I think they've earned it right now. We'll see what they do. They got Wazoo coming in this weekend, and as an Ole Miss fan, let me tell you, Wazoo's not a cakewalk. Wazoo nearly beat us Saturday. Good luck, Virginia. BYU checks in at 13. They're undefeated, 6-0. Like I said, most disrespected team. I think they're being overlooked. Tennessee at 12. Really good one-loss team. Almost beat Georgia. Had a gutsy one over Arkansas. But Tennessee's at Alabama on Saturday. We will pick that game in a little while. Georgia Tech. I almost put them at number 10, but I just settled with them at 11. 6-0. Look great. Love the QB running back tandem. They're good in the trenches. Tricky game at Duke coming up Saturday, though. LSU checks in at 10. Tigers, of course, beat South Carolina the other night, 20-10, and they'll get ready for Vandy. Georgia's at 9. Georgia Ole Miss this weekend. Oregon is at 8. The Ducks fall to 8 after the loss to Indiana. I still think they're a really good team. I just think Indiana just proved they're a great team. Texas Tech is 7, the class of the Big 12. Alabama rises to number 6 after the win over Mizzou. Ole Miss hangs at 5. I wasn't going to drop them too very far if I did, but ultimately, good teams have to win ugly games too, guys. I don't know how great Ole Miss is. I think they're good, but I don't know how great they are. But we're going to learn a lot about Ole Miss this weekend against Georgia. Texas A&M checks in at 4. I love what Mike Elko's got going there. Best team in the SEC, maybe. We'll see. Indiana, the big mover, obviously, after the big win over Oregon on the road, they skyrocket to number 3. Like I say, if you ain't taking Indiana serious, I don't know what you're doing. Miami's number 2, obviously, and Ohio State, until further notice, is number 1. I think Ohio State and Miami are the best 2 teams in the country, and I think Indiana's right there at number 3. All right, so that is a wrap for Week 7. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, couple of news and notes real quick. Mid-season surprises, disappointments, and unfortunately, something we don't like to talk about on this show, coaches fired as 3 more head coaches have lost their jobs. See you guys in just a little bit. Alright guys, welcome back to 4th and 25 with Jram. Alright guys, so we've recapped Week 7. Guys, we're at the halfway point of the season, so let's talk just briefly real quick. We won't hold long on this, but let's talk about some surprises and some disappointments. I kind of threw this together at the last second for the show, but I should have done prepared this, but I kind of threw it together at the last second. All I got here is, what are your surprise teams? Who are your disappointments? So what I decided was I put a quick list together of a surprising team and a disappointing team in each conference. We'll start with the surprises. G5, Sun Belt. How about Troy? They're 4-2, 2-0 in the conference. Just got a big win on the road at Texas State. You saw my stats on the quarterback. He played phenomenal, 400 plus yards, 5 touchdowns. Troy's looking good. They're a contender in the West Division. From the MAC, this was a jumbled up mess because you've got the top teams each have 3 losses. So my biggest surprise in the Mid-American Conference right now, I've got Bowling Green. They're sitting at 3-3, 1-1 in conference. Just beat Toledo, their arch rival, and their first-year head coach Eddie George, NFL legend, Ohio State legend. Bowling Green, good. All right, Conference USA, biggest surprise. Kennesaw State, second year in the league. Guys, they're 4-2. They're 2-0 in the conference. They just beat up Louisiana Tech last week. If you haven't seen Kennesaw State, they're looking better. This is good looking. They're looking a lot better. Mountain West. I settled on San Diego State. The Aztecs are 5-1. They're 2-0 in the conference. They're almost bowl eligible. This team was bad last year. I think it went 4-8. Sean Lewis has got it going on out there in San Diego. All right, and then what am I forgetting? Oh, one more. The American. North Texas, 5-1, 1-1 in conference. I know they just got obliterated by South Florida in the second half of that game. But look, they're 5-1. They still look very solid. And they've got very winnable games. This can still be an 8-9 win season for this program. All right, Power 4 surprise teams. ACC, Virginia. I mean, come on. 5-1, 3-0 in the ACC. You beat Florida State. You beat Louisville on the road. Chandler Morris looks great at quarterback. Their offense is explosive. Tony Elliott's doing a great job in Charlottesville this year, so they look really, really good. Next up, Big 12, biggest surprise. Had a couple of teams in mind for this, but I settled on Cincinnati. Bearcats are 5-1. They're 3-0 in the Big 12. They've got some big tests coming up, don't get me wrong. But this is a good-looking football team. They're playing solid on the offense. Their quarterback is a very good dual threat QB. Cincinnati looks good. Scott Satterfield's got his seat's cooled down a lot. Cincinnati's got a chance to get to Arlington to the Big 12 championship. All right, Big 10, biggest surprise. This was a tough one. But guys, I got Indiana. I mean, they're 6-0. They're 3-0 in conference. They're number 3 in the country. That Indiana may not be a big surprise to some, but I feel like there was an overwhelming majority who thought Indiana was going to take a step back this year, myself included. I had them losing 3 games. 2 of those they've already won. Offense is explosive, full of playmakers. Defense is really, really good, and they just won at Oregon. Indiana looks incredible, so they're my biggest surprise in the Big Ten. And then finally from the SEC, this is probably going to sound biased, I don't know, but I got Ole Miss, 6-0, 3-0 in conference. I didn't think they'd beat LSU. I really didn't. I mean, look, we talked about defensive regression. We expected that, and there has been some. Trinidad Chambliss has been a great revelation at quarterback. But Ole Miss 6-0 at the halfway point. As a Rebel fan, I gladly take it. But I didn't expect us to be at this position because Arkansas, Kentucky, you just didn't know. Tulane, you didn't know. They destroyed Tulane. Um, but yeah, I think Ole Miss has been a pleasant surprise in the SEC. So that's my surprises. Next up, let's talk about disappointments. What teams have been disappointments so far? G5, Sun Belt. For me, it's South Alabama. They lost last night to Arkansas State 15-14. The Jags are 1-6 and they're 0-3 in conference. I really like Kentrell Bullock, their running back. I know they lost their QB. He went to North Carolina in the portal this past offseason. But I thought this team would be a contender. I really did. I thought they would be a contender in the West Division, and they have not been. They're 1-6. They're bad. Mountain West, San Jose State, 2-4, 1-1 in their conference. Offense has not been as good as I thought it would be at times. They just lost to Wyoming, which Laramie's a tough place to play at anyways. But San Jose State, very surprised to see them as bad as they are. The MAC, I've got two teams here. So one of them, I guess you could call honorable mention. Northern Illinois, 1-5, 0-2 in the MAC. Just lost to Eastern Michigan. That Thomas Haddock's team, or Hammock, they look bad. It's a shame. They've lost some close games, but I mean, still 1-5 is 1-5. Toledo is the other team. Preseason favorite. Everybody expected them to steamroll in the MAC. Well, guys, they're 3-3 and they're 1-2 in the conference. They lost by a point to Western Michigan, and they just lost to Bowling Green. So Toledo's been a disappointment. All right, and then Conference USA. I almost went with Liberty, and then they kind of redeemed themselves last night by at least hanging on to beat New Mexico State. I settled on UTEP. They're 1-5. They're 0-2. I thought UTEP would be better, and they have not been better at all. And then finally, in the American, this was a tough one for me, but I settled on UTSA. They're 3-3, 1-1 in the conference. They lost to Temple. They did beat Rice, but I thought UTSA would be better than this, but they've looked kind of average at times, so I settled on that. Okay, Power 4 conference disappointments. We'll start with the ACC. I know they've won 2 in a row in the conference, but to me, this is a no-brainer. It's Clemson. It's Clemson. They're 3-3 and they're 2-2 in the conference. They've lost to Syracuse. They lost to a really good Georgia Tech team. I mean, guys, some people had Clemson winning the national championship. Yours truly here had them playing for the title, and they have just all that talent, and it's just not been clicking. Now, to their credit, they've won a couple here in a row. They got to win the ACC if they're going to get to the playoff, and with 2 losses already, it's going to be really difficult for them to get to Charlotte. All right, Big 12 disappointment. Kansas State, 3-4, 2-2 conference. They have kind of rebounded with the big win over TCU this past week, but still they have not looked near as good, especially on the offense, like I thought they would be. So disappointing to say the least, because I really like Kansas State and I like their coach, Coach Klein. Big 10, easiest one, Penn State. They 3-3, 0-3 in the conference. Just lost to Northwestern. You've lost to UCLA. Oregon, okay. Oregon's a top 10 team, but them other 2 are just inexcusable. Penn State, you fired your head coach. More on that later. Just what a disaster. I picked Penn State to win the national championship. I'm an idiot. Laugh at me all you want. So, how fitting. The 2 teams I picked to play for the title are on this list. All right, and then finally, SEC biggest disappointment. This is going to sound a little harsh because they won this past week, but Texas. I mean, 4-2, 1-1 in conference. They did lose to Florida, bad Florida team on the road, but they still got to play Georgia. And if they go 9-3 and say 6-2, they're probably not going to be in Atlanta. So they're going to have to try to be an at-large team. But anyway, Texas is my biggest disappointment in the SEC. However, Honorable mention. I've also got South Carolina on this list. They're 3-3. They're 1-3 in SEC play. There was a lot of expectations around this team with Lenore Sellers, Dylan Stewart. They're not a bad team. I just think they need to get better on offense. The defense ain't their problem, but yeah, 3-3, 1-3 in conference. So kind of a disappointing start for the Gamecocks, but can they rebound? Of course they can. They've all still got time. We're only midway through the season. All right, so that is our midway point surprises and disappointments. So when we come back, we are going to talk about the part of the sport that I hate to talk about the most, and y'all know where I'm going with this, is we had multiple coaches fired this past week. So we'll talk about that here in just a minute. See you guys in a second.
To hate Andrew Anderson, spitting truth that just can't wait. Got a podcast like a punch right to your face. College sports villain, taking it over the place. I bring the facts whether you like it or not. Dropping truth bombs, giving it all I got. They call me a villain. Well, I wear that badge with pride. Nothing but secrets they try to hide. Hard rock in my veins, rebellious to the core. I won't back down, won't take it anymore. The bad guy of the podcast world, that's me. Unleashing the truth, setting it all free. Unleashing the truth.
All right, hey guys, welcome back to 4th and 25 with Jram. I hope you're having a wonderful, again, I hope you're having a wonderful Wednesday afternoon. All right, guys, we've reached a part in this show where we don't like to talk about this, but unfortunately, this is the reality of where college football is right now. Coaches getting fired in the season. I'm not personally a fan of that. I would rather do it at the end of the season. There's some coaches who deserve to finish the year, in my opinion, with their teams. But unfortunately, it's just not happening anymore. It's a different world, especially with what these guys make. Just realized the wrong dates under my show, but oh well. So we had 4 coaches fired. I mean, 3 coaches, I'm sorry. Let's get to them. UAB, Trent Dilfer is gone. He was let go. 9-21 in 2+ seasons with the Blazers. They're 2-4 this year. Alex Mortensen will serve as the interim head coach to finish out the season for this team. He is the son of the late NFL insider Chris Mortensen, as a matter of fact. He will take over for the rest of the season for the Blazers. I like Trent Dilfer. I think he's a good dude. I loved just watching him play for the Ravens when they won the Super Bowl years ago. I think he would have been a fun coach to play for. I think he molds good. I think he does a good job of molding young men into becoming what they are. It just didn't work here. NIL's not good there. They don't have the resources, the funding that they need. He's talked about that. It was just a tough position. So sad to see it happen to Trent, but I understand he's a pretty good high school coach, so maybe he gets back into that profession. Okay, next up we have Trent Bray, Oregon State. He's out of a job. Beavers 0-7 start. Really, really bad year in Corvallis for a proud program. This is their worst start since 1991. They were 0-10. He finishes at 5-14 as the head coach since he took over at the start of 2024. Special teams assistant Rob Akey will finish the season as the Beavers head coach. This program's obviously been hurting since the Pac-12's demise. Thankfully, the league will be back next year, but the Steelers just having to adapt as they will, of course, not get near the revenue that they're used to because of the new Pac-12. Won't have near the power that it used to have. So Trent Bray out at Oregon State. All right, finally, the big one. This one everybody's been talking about. Penn State fires James Franklin after 12 seasons. I like James Franklin. I hate this happened to him. It's hard to believe that just a couple of weeks ago, College Game Day was hosting Penn State for a top was at Penn State for a top 10 showdown between them and Oregon. James Franklin gets a $49 million buyout, I believe was the total, somewhere around that neighborhood. Yeah, this is it's owed more than $49 million according to his contract. It is the second biggest buyout in college football history, only behind Jimbo Fisher's buyout at Texas A&M that was $76 million. Oh, sorry, I had a comment. It caught my attention. Anyway, big time buyout. James Franklin finishes 4-21 against the AP top 10, 1-18 versus the top 10 in Big Ten. 1-18 against top 10 Big Ten opponents. His winning percentage was only 160 against the AP top 10, 4-21. His overall record: 104 wins, 45 losses. He won 2 college football playoff games last year when they beat Boise in the Fiesta Bowl after winning the first round game against SMU and then the Fiesta Bowl over Boise. He did win a Big Ten title in 2016 and a Big Ten East title. His postseason record, though, was 6-6. But what really hurt him was his record against the top 10. Like I said, 4-21 and 1-18 against top 10 Big Ten opponents, especially Ohio State and Michigan. Hate to see this happen to anybody. You really don't like to see anybody lose their job. If you do, you're crazy. You need your head checked. But I don't agree with it. I don't think this was the right time to do this. I think they should at least let him finish out the year. This is like what happened with Mike Gundy at Oklahoma State. I don't know where Penn State's going to go from here. Not going to speculate. Not my spot. So we'll see what happens when we get to the when the season's over. There's obviously candidates floating out there just like for these other jobs. And I don't think this is the last jobs that are going to come open either. So with that said, though, Penn State moves on. James Franklin is out. Associate head coach Terry Smith will serve as the interim head coach for the rest of the season. All right, so that is a wrap on that unfortunate news. Next up, let's take a quick look, as we have started to do. Here is the FCS Top 25. We started to talk a little bit about FCS on here because FCS football is great. Here's your updated Top 25 after this past weekend. Not a lot of change. Youngstown State 25th. We got Austin Peay 24th. Fellow conference mate West Georgia 23rd. Joining the poll, Southeast Louisiana 22nd. Northern Arizona at 21st. Harvard of the Ivy League at 20th. Presbyterian Blue Hose, good story, they're 19. Lamar 18. Abilene Christian 17. Mercer 16. Rhode Island at 15, the Rams. Villanova at 14. We got Jackson State of the SWAC at 13, fellow Mississippi school. Southern Illinois at 12. North Dakota checks in at 11. We got Monmouth at 10. Illinois State at 9. Tennessee Tech at 8. Lehigh checks in at 7. UC Davis at 6. Montana State 5. Montana 4. Y'all know how the Montana schools are in the FCS. They're always strong. Tarleton State at number 3. The Texans look really good. Explosive offense. And, of course, at number 2 and number 1, the Kings of FCS until further notice. North Dakota State at 1. South Dakota State at 2. They're in the same conference, and they pretty much run the FCS, North Dakota State and South Dakota State. All right. So, I'm going to take a quick breather, and when we come back, let's wrap this thing up with, as always, predictions. It'll be time to pick the games this coming week that we're going to do. So, let's take one more break, and we will be right back.
Look at me, I'm lost at sea, circling eternally. Come and help me from this insanity. Where am I disgrace? I hate to see your face. I wanna see you drown in your sorrow. You know I'm not the same. I'm fading away. I'm falling into
All right, guys. Welcome back to 4th and 25. Let's keep it going, shall we? All right. So our final segment, as always, predictions for the week ahead. Um, we got games to pick. So we're going to start with a Friday night game in the ACC. We've got Louisville at Miami. Canes number 2 in the country, 5-0, 13.5 point favorite. Louisville 4-1. Cardinals, of course, are reeling off of the loss to Virginia a couple weeks ago. Um, just some statistics of note. Miami is number 9 in scoring defense. Louisville is 48th. Points per game on offense. You got the 29th and 35th best scoring offenses. Louisville's a little better. Louisville 21st in the pass at 289 yards a game. Miami a respectable 35th against the pass, only allowing 189 a game. Louisville number 8 in the country in pass defense. They're allowing only 150.4 yards a game. Miami's passing offense is 39th at 264 a game. Total defense. We got 2 of the top 16 defenses in total yards allowed. Louisville's 12th at 262 yards a game allowed. Miami's 16th at 276.4. Louisville struggles to run the ball. They're 113th at 115 yards a game. Miami is 13th in run defense, allowing 87.4 yards a game. As far as some other statistics, third down. Both these teams are solid on defense as far as holding teams on third down. Miami's 10th, only allowing 27.9% of conversion rate. Louisville is 25th at 30 point. I think that's 4. All right. Turnover margin. Miami +6, 8th best in the country. Penalty yards. Louisville heavily penalized team here, guys. 72.4 penalty yards a game, 122nd in the country. In the red zone, Miami's defense, 71st in red zone defense. They're allowing 84.6 scoring rate on their opponents. Louisville's offense in the red zone is 21st, 94.4%. So Louisville gets in the red zone. Keep an eye on this. Third down conversions, Louisville 44.3%, 37th. Miami's 27th at 47.5%. Time of possession, both these teams do like to keep the ball a little bit, especially Miami. They're 14th at 33 minutes a game. Louisville 31.45 at 28th. Okay, so who am I picking to win this game? Yeah, I'm going Miami. At home, Louisville obviously is reeling a little bit from the loss to Virginia. They're struggling to run the ball. Miami will feast on that, so Miami can stop the pass and focus on the pass. They're 35th against that. Defense is really good. I think this is a bad situation for Louisville to be in here. I'm going to take Miami to win this football game. All right, next up. Next game. So I picked these games to pick for y'all, and it's getting to where it's getting a little more difficult to come out with a certain number. So I try to do 10 games a week. So if I miss a good game in your opinion, I apologize. You'll see it on the other picks here in a minute. Okay. Trap game potentially. Georgia Tech at Duke. This is by the way, the Louisville Miami game is Friday night on ESPN at 6 o'clock. So 11 a.m. Saturday on ESPN. Georgia Tech 6-0 at 4-2 Duke. Duke's favored, guys. Duke is favored at home. Neither team likes to hold on to the ball. Duke's time of possession is 27.52, 113th in the country. Georgia Tech 29.15, 87th in the country. Both teams can score. Georgia Tech is 24th at 36.7 points a game. Miami's 25th. Duke's 25th. I'm sorry, at 36.5. So pretty close stat there. Duke likes to throw the ball. They're 310 yards a game, which is 11th best. Georgia Tech loves to run the ball, 238 yards a game, 11th best. Both in the top 20 in total offense. Georgia Tech 13th at 476.8. Miami's, I don't know why I keep saying Miami, but Duke is 20th at 467 yards a game. On the defensive side, let's see. Georgia Tech is bad at stopping the run. They're 130th in run defense, allowing 169.5 yards a game. I think that's right. All right. Let me make sure I got that right, because for some reason I think my stats are a little off here. Let me make sure real quick. I apologize for the delay. Yeah, they're 105th in run defense at 169 yards a game. They're 105th. I apologize. Um, Duke struggles to stop the pass. They're 116th at 252.7 yards a game allowed. Georgia Tech's pass offense is 63rd at 238.8. Georgia Tech specializes more in running the ball with their running back and, of course, Haynes King, the quarterback. Scoring defense, Georgia Tech pretty good edge here, allowing 21 points a game. Duke 25 and a half. Third down conversions, both were respectable. Georgia Tech 47.1%. Duke 36th in the country at 44.9%. Let's see, turnover margin. Duke +5, Georgia Tech's at -3. Duke's 20th in the country. Georgia Tech looks like 99th. Penalty yards. Duke, another heavily penalized team, 73.3 penalty yards a game. They're 124th in the country. Georgia Tech, a little more disciplined, 53.8 yards a game in penalties, 68th best. In the red zone, Georgia Tech's defense, 77.8% scoring percentage, which is 32nd in the country. Duke's red zone offense, 80.8%, 91st. So Duke, a team with red zone issues. Okay. With that said, I don't see Georgia Tech losing yet. I think this is a trap game. This is a game they could screw around and lose, but I like Georgia Tech here. I think they find enough in the running game. I think they'll get to that quarterback for Dukes, and I'm going to take Georgia Tech to win this football game. So I like Georgia Tech on the road Saturday at Duke. All right, next up. I almost didn't do this game, but I still think it's a solid matchup. Washington at Michigan. 5-1 Washington, 4-2 Michigan. 11 a.m. Fox kickoff. Michigan is actually a 6-point favorite according to this book. All right, so here's what we got. Passing offense. Look at this uneven matchup. Washington's 24th at 279.7 yards a game. Michigan, not a good passing team. They're 95th at 201.7 yards a game. The running game is a little more even. Washington 37th at 188.8 yards a game. Michigan runs for about 216.3, which is, I think that's 19th best. Scoring offense, Washington's at 39.2, Michigan 29.5. Defense, a little more even again. These are the 35th and 36th best total defenses. Michigan 35th at 317.7. Washington is 36th at 318.5. Run defense. Good matchup here. Both are in the top 20 at stopping the run. Michigan is 20th at 101.5 yards a game allowed. Washington, 83.2 yards per game, 7th best in the country. Third down conversion percentage, Washington is 6th at 54.4%. Michigan is 78th at 39.4%. Points per game allowed on defense, both are under 20. Washington at 19.7, Michigan at 18.7. Fourth downs, oh boy. Michigan is 135th in fourth down conversion percentage, 14.3. That's one of the worst in the country. Washington's at 60%. Third down defense, Michigan is 71st, allowing 37.6% conversion rate. Turnover margin, both are really good. They're in the pluses. Michigan +6, which is 8th best. Washington +5, 20th best. Penalty yards, Michigan really disciplined, 19th at 38 yards a game. Washington a little more undisciplined, 83rd, 57.5 yards a game. Oh, man. So, I'm thinking hard about this one if y'all haven't noticed. This is going to be a good game. I'm going to go with the home team, though. I think Michigan rebounds here and gets payback for last year, and I think their defense and that crowd is going to get to Washington. I like Michigan to take down Washington this weekend. All right, next up, let's keep it rolling and head for good old Music City and head to Nashville, Tennessee. I know the logos need to be flipped, but it is what it is. 11 a.m. on ABC, we got LSU 5-1 at Vanderbilt, who's 5-1. Showdown between the Commodores and the Tigers. Vanderbilt is a 3-point favorite in this game. I'm actually stunned by that. Offense, clearly Vanderbilt's the better offense. 7th in scoring, 43 points a game. I'm averaging that out. It's 43.2. LSU's only scoring 25.8 a game. Rushing offense, Vanderbilt 23rd, LSU 113th. Pass offense, 47-48. Vanderbilt, a little more even there. Total offense, LSU 78th, Vanderbilt 19th. Then on the defensive side, LSU's a little stronger here. 21st in total defense, Vandy's 31st. Pass defense, you got 42nd LSU. Vanderbilt 69th against the pass, allowing 222.7, something like that. Scoring defense, LSU is 5th in the country, only allowing 11.8 points a game. Vanderbilt 36th at 19.3 points a game. Both are good, a solid stopping at the run. LSU's 21st at 102.5 yards a game. And Vanderbilt is a really good 16th at 90.7 yards a game. Third down conversions. Vanderbilt is the number 2 team in the country at 57.9%. LSU is 59th at 41.6%. Fourth downs, LSU 3rd in the country, 83.3%. Vanderbilt 82nd at 50%. Vanderbilt's averaging 68 yards a game in penalties. Time of possession, they're both pretty equal. 47th is LSU at 31 minutes 9 seconds. Vanderbilt 48th, 30 minutes and 58 seconds. Okay, so this is another one I have struggled with. I got to see it to believe it. This is one of those I've got to see it to believe it. So with that said, I think LSU has found another gear. They did run the ball a lot better against South Carolina. Say what you want about the officials, but we're not here to complain about that anymore. I'm going to take LSU to win this game. I think it's really close. I have no confidence. I'm going to pick LSU to beat Vanderbilt, but I have no confidence in that pick. All right, next up. This is the toughest one for me to pick. Let's head to Athens. 2:30 ABC, Ole Miss 6-0, Georgia 5-1. Huge SEC game. College game day is going to be there. Some stats to keep an eye on here. As far as the total offense, Ole Miss is 5th at 515.3 yards a game. Georgia not as explosive, 414 yards a game to 52nd. Passing offense, Ole Miss is 8th at 311 a game. Georgia is 69th at 228.5. Rushing offense, Ole Miss 27th at 204.3. Georgia improved, 185.5 at 40th in the country. Scoring offense, Ole Miss is averaging 37.8 points a game. Georgia 32.2. Ole Miss 20th, Georgia 50th. Then you flip over to the defense. This is where Georgia shines a little better and is pretty much better. Total defense, Ole Miss is 49th and giving up 337.7. Georgia 26th, 307.2 a game. Pass defense, though, Ole Miss is the better team here statistically. 28th at 180 yards a game. Georgia 60th at 215.5. Ole Miss's weakness is the run defense. Ole Miss is giving up 157.7 yards a game, 96th best in the country. So there's your weakness for the Rebels. Georgia only giving up 91.7 yards a game rushing, so they're 17th best. So there's a good matchup. Georgia's run defense, Ole Miss's run offense with Chambliss and Kewan Lacey and those guys. Scoring defense, Ole Miss allowed 19.2 a game. Georgia 17 points a game. Georgia's 14th, Ole Miss 34th. Both teams are pretty good at converting on downs. Ole Miss is 17th on third downs at 51.3%. Georgia's 31st, 46.3%. Fourth down conversion rate, Ole Miss is 3rd in the country on fourth downs, 83.3%. Georgia's 22nd at 70th. That's pretty good. Time of possession, you can probably guess who's better at this. That's Georgia, 32 minutes and 23 seconds a game. 19th best. Ole Miss is 104th at 28 minutes and 24 seconds. Georgia's defense. We just talked about Ole Miss being a number 17 in third down conversion percentage. Georgia's defense on third downs is 84th in the country at 40.2% conversion rate. Another stat, penalty yards. We love talking about this. Georgia, 44 yards a game in penalties is 32nd. Pretty disciplined. Ole Miss, they have had this problem. This is something that seems to have not left the program. This might be my one complaint since Lane's been there. We seem to always get a bunch of penalties. Ole Miss is 125th in penalty yards a game, 73.8. Another stat, red zone. Ole Miss's offense, 58th, only scoring 88.2% of the time. They've had to kick a lot of field goals. Georgia's red zone defense, 5th, allowing 66.7% of their scoring. That's a stat that scares me. Ole Miss is going to have to jump out on Georgia. They've got to score. They've got to score touchdowns. You're not going to beat Georgia with field goals in Athens. I don't care what anybody says. If Ole Miss jumps out, they got a chance. But Ole Miss cannot start slow in this football game. I've almost refrained myself from picking this game. I really have. But I pick the biggest games regardless of who's in them for you guys. So it pains my heart to do this. I'm going to pick Georgia to win. I hope I'm wrong. No disrespect to Georgia, but you know how this is. But I'm very worried about this game. I'm going to take Georgia to win the game. Give me Georgia over Ole Miss. I can't be biased. I just can't be biased. Hope I'm wrong, though. All right, moving on. G5. I actually got a G5 game I wanted to do. We've got UNLV 6-0 at Boise State, who's 4-2. Boise is a shockingly big favorite, 12.5 points. 230 FS1. Guys, we talk about all these teams from the American as far as the G5 playoff spot goes. Nobody's talking about UNLV. They're sitting out here 6-0, but their defense might be part of the reason. We'll get to that in just a second. All right, so both these teams can get the yardage. UNLV 442.3, 32nd best. Boise State 465.3 yards a game, 22nd best. Pass offense. Boise's 30th at 274.5. UNLV's 59th at 242.7. Rushing offense. They both specialize pretty solidly here. UNLV 199.7 yards a game, 31st best. Boise's 35th at 190.8 yards a game. Scoring offense. UNLV a little better, 38.2, 19th best. Boise 33.7, 44th best. Okay, so a little different here, but this is how bad UNLV's defense is. They're giving up 445 yards a game. That's 125th. 118th against the pass, 255.2. 123rd against the run, 189.8 yards a game. And they're 108th in scoring defense. They're giving up 29.7 points a game, close to 30. Boise's defense is a little more respectable. 43rd in total defense, 331. 32nd against the pass, 185.8. 71st against the run, 145.2. And they're 73rd, scoring defense, 25.3 points a game. Third down conversion percentages, UNLV 48.6. That's 22nd best. Boise's 46.2 at 32nd best. UNLV, a good fourth down converting team, 18th best at 71.4. Boise's 69th at 55%. Time of possession, UNLV 67th at 30 minutes and 5 seconds. Boise, 6th in time of possession, 34 minutes and 5 seconds. They like to keep the ball. UNLV plus 9 turnover margin, number 2 in the country. Penalty yards. Both these teams are heavily penalized. UNLV 134th, guys, 82.2 yards a game. Seems like Dan Mullen's teams loves to get penalties. Boise 72.7%, 123rd in the country. Final statistic, UNLV's offense 89.3% in the red zone. They score a lot, 52nd best. Red zone defense for Boise is allowing 95.2% scoring at 127. So if you're UNLV, get the thing in the red zone and you should find pay dirt. Okay, so I've been right on UNLV's games so far this year. And I'm going to stick with this. I think Boise State will move the football on their defense, and they will find ways to maximize UNLV's opportunities. Give me Boise State to hand UNLV their first loss. So I'll take Boise State. All right. Next up, we've got 4 more games, and then we'll show the rest of our games. Okay. All right. Next up, let's head to Tuscaloosa. Third Saturday in October. 5-1 Tennessee, 5-1 Alabama. Alabama 8-point favorite, 6:30 ABC kickoff. So here's what we got. Tennessee, number 4 in total offense, 527.8. The 7th best passing offense at 317.8 yards a game. 22nd at running the ball, 210 yards a game. So pretty good balance. Number 1 in scoring offense. Number 1 scoring offense in the country, 48.2%. Alabama's offense, 431 yards a game. That's 39th. They're a pass first team, 304.5 yards a game, 15th best. 102nd at rushing the ball, 126.5. Alabama has not run the ball a lot. Sometimes they ain't got to, but then sometimes when they need to, they haven't. Now, Jam Miller, their running back, may not play this week. And they're 36th in scoring at 34.8 points per game. Total defense. Here's a mismatch. Tennessee 100th. They're giving up 393.8 yards a game. They're 123rd in pass defense, giving up 258.7. A little better at run defense, 135.2. That's 59th best. And they're giving up 29.3 points a game, 104th best. Alabama's defense, a little different animal. 293.2 a game total yards, that's 18th best. Number 3 pass defense, 136.5 yards a game. So you got Tennessee with the 7th ranked pass offense, Alabama with the 3rd ranked pass defense. They're 93rd, though, at stopping the run, 156.7 yards a game. We talked about Tennessee, 210 yards a game rushing offense. Interesting stat. Scoring defense, Bama allowing only 17.3 points a game. That's 22nd best. Both teams are efficient on third down conversions. Alabama 19th at 50%. Tennessee's 22nd at 48.6. Fourth down conversions, Bama's 48th at 62.5. Tennessee, 100%, number 1. I don't know how many times they've went for it this year, so can't be much, but they're number 1. Time of possession, Alabama 34 minutes in the second. That's 7th best. They like to keep the ball. Tennessee 26-49, 125th. They don't like to keep the ball. Alabama's turnover margin +9, second in the country. Third down defense 75th. They're allowing their opponents to convert 37.9% of the time. Penalty yards, Tennessee 100th at 63.3 yards a game. Alabama pretty disciplined, 31st, only 43 penalty yards a game. In the red zone, these offenses are very, very efficient in the red zone. Tennessee's 23rd, 94.1% scoring. Alabama, 9th, 96.4%. So, with that said, Tennessee's defense, I think, is going to have too much on their hands here. And I think Alabama's the hottest team, maybe the hottest team in the country. They definitely have been the hottest the last few weeks. Anyway, with that said, I think the crowd, the atmosphere, I think Alabama's defense is going to be too much. I think Alabama will win this game, and I think they will, in the second half, pull away and win decisive, fairly comfortably. So give me Alabama to beat Tennessee. All right, 3 more games. Already over an hour. That's fine. All right, next up. USC, Notre Dame. USC 5-1, Notre Dame 4-2. This is a 6:30 NBC kickoff. Notre Dame is an 8.5-point favorite. Yeah, this is a big game here. Let's talk about USC's offense. Number 2 total offense, 552.3. They're explosive. Number 2 passing offense, 325.8 a game. 16th in rushing offense, 226.5. They're scoring 45.5 a game, 3rd best. That's really, really good. Notre Dame's offense is 465.5 a game, 21st. 19th in passing offense, 292.8. 50th in rushing offense, 172.7. They're scoring 40 points a game, 14th. Tail of the defenses. This is an interesting stat you're about to see. Total defense. USC 62nd. They're 352.2. Their pass defense is struggling, 102nd. They're allowing 243.7 a game. Rush defense is a little better, 29th, 108.5 yards a game. 51st in points per game, they're only allowing 21.3. Notre Dame's defense, 58th in total defense, 350.7. Also, like USC, Notre Dame is struggling against the pass, 105th. They're allowing 245.3 yards a game. 25th in run defense. So we got two top 30 run defenses here, 105.3 yards a game, and two top 50 rush offenses. They just don't know me. And Notre Dame's 47th in scoring defense, 20.8 points a game. Third down percentage. USC, very efficient, fifth in the country, 55.2%. Notre Dame's 20th at 49.3. Not bad either. Fourth down conversions, USC, kind of like Ole Miss, really good. Third best, 83.3. Notre Dame, 121st, 35.7. Time of possession, 34th for the Trojans at 31 minutes and 28 seconds. Notre Dame 71st at 29.54. Let's see, Notre Dame has a +6 turnover margin, 8th best in the country. Their third down defense is 60th as they allow 36.5% conversion rate. Penalty yards, USC, another heavily penalized team, 67.3 penalty yards a game. That's 112th. Notre Dame is 52nd at 50 yards a game. And then in the red zone stat here, USC's offense, 25th, 93.9% scoring. Notre Dame's defense, 78th at 85.7. Okay, so with that said, this is a moment for USC. This is a game for them where if you want to get back into the national discussion and get some big time attention, this is your chance for the Trojans. However, South Bend, I still love what Carr's doing at quarterback. I love the offense with the running game. Notre Dame's defense has got to figure out a way, though, to slow the pass down. Because if USC throws the ball like they're capable of, USC's going to win this football game, I think. But I'm going to take Notre Dame. Give me Notre Dame at home to take down USC in a close one. This will be a really close game, I think. But I like Notre Dame to win that football game. All right, next up. Got two more games. I almost didn't do this one. I thought about taking it off. I think this is a sneaky good game that you're not going to hear, and there's not going to be a lot of talk about it, and I understand that. This is a 6:45 game on the SEC Network. 5-1 Missouri. Auburn's, of course, 3-3. They're reeling from the Georgia loss and crappy officiating, but anyway. So here's the mismatch. We'll start with the mismatches as offenses. Missouri is 7th at 511 yards a game, 511.3. 61st in pass offense, 240.8, but they are a heavy run team. 6th in the country, 270.5 yards a game. They're scoring 41.7 a game, which is 10th best. Auburn's offense, meanwhile, 112th, 331.3 yards a game, 167.2 passing yards. They're 59th in run offense, 164.2. 92nd in offensive points a game. They're scoring 24.7. Defense. I did not realize how strong Missouri's defense is statistically. Now, of course, this before Bama. This does include South Carolina, UMass, Kansas, blah, blah, blah. Missouri's defense, 219.3 yards a game, second best. They're ninth in pass defense, 151.2. They're only around 68 yards a game rushing. 16.7 points a game, 17th best. Number 2 run defense. Auburn's defense is not a bad group. They're 28th in total defense, 311.5. Pass defense is a little concerning here, 225 a game, 74th. But they're 11th against the run, 86.5%. So there's your matchup. Can Missouri run the football against Auburn? If they can't run the ball in this environment, they're going to be in trouble. Auburn 19th in pass scoring defense. 17 points a game. Conversions. Missouri is phenomenal. 4th and third down percentage, 55.4%. Number 4 in the country at third down conversion rate. Auburn is 4th at 7th, 80%. Missouri's 4th down conversion rate is 7th best, 80%. I'm sorry. Auburn, meanwhile, yikes. 96th and third down conversion rate, 36.7. They're 72nd in fourth down conversions, 53.8% on fourth down, 72nd. Time of possession, Missouri likes to keep the ball, 34 minutes and 49 seconds. Number 2 in the country. Auburn is 57th at 30 minutes and 29 seconds. All right, so in the red zone, Missouri's defense, 92.9% scoring rate allowed. That's 121st. The one stat about Auburn's offense, 23rd in the red zone, 94.1% scoring. Penalty yards, Missouri, 42nd, 46.5 yards a game. Auburn, very undisciplined, 126th at 74.7 penalty yards a game. Missouri's defense on third down is also 5th in the country, 24.7% conversion rate. Okay, so with that said, I have thought this game through and through. This has the feeling of an upset. This has a feeling. I think Auburn's pissed off because of what happened against Georgia. I think they're going to be fueled and motivated here. And with that said, I think their defense is going to make enough stops and shut down Missouri just enough to save Hugh Freeze's job for another, or at least another week. I'm going to take Auburn. Give me Auburn to upset Missouri. I know it's close. It's only a 2-point line. Yeah, Missouri by 2, but I'm taking Auburn to beat Missouri this weekend. I like Auburn in that football game. Okay, final game. Final game. If you love rivalries, you need to watch this one. This is a great one. The Holy War. We got BYU 6-0 hosting 5-1 Utah. 7 o'clock Fox. Utah's favored by 3.5. Let's see. Red zone offense. Utah is 8th at 96.6% scoring rate. But when you got a quarterback like Devin Dampier, of course. Little tail of the tape here. We've got two pretty strong offenses in the top 30 in total offense. Both Utah at 459.7, BYU 448.2. Both these teams are heavy at running the football. Utah is 8th at 248.2 a game. BYU 11th at 238 yards a game. Neither team throws the ball a lot or as strongly. Utah's 90th, BYU's 92nd. Utah 211.5, BYU 210.2. Scoring offense, both can put up points. Utah 39.5 a game, 16th. BYU's 21st at 37.5 points per game. Defense, these two teams can play some defense. Let's start with total defense. Both are in the top 20. Utah's 19th at 293.5. BYU's 13th, guys, at 263.5 yards a game. Pass defense, both are in the top 17. Utah only allows 153.7 yards a game. BYU 17th at 159.3. Rush defense, BYU is strong, respectable 23rd at 104.2. This is Utah's weakness, 61st, allowing 139.8 yards a game on the ground. Scoring defense, both these teams are good at keeping the opponents from scoring a lot. They're both in the top 12. Actually, they're 11th and 12th. Utah's 11th. They're only allowing 13.8 points a game. BYU's 12th at 14.7. Third down conversions. Utah number 1 in the country in third down conversions, 60%. BYU's 46th, 42.9%. Fourth down conversion rate, they're both in the top 18. Utah's 7th at 80%. BYU is 18th at 71.4%. And finally, time of possession, BYU 9th, 33 minutes and 15 seconds. Utah 31 minutes and 43 seconds, 30th. All right, so the Holy War, maybe an elimination game for Utah as far as the Big 12 race goes. This is going to be good, but I'm buying BYU. Not many people are, but I like them here at home. I think it's physical. I think it's a close game. I think it's going to be a great game between these two bitter rivals. But I'm going to go with BYU. I think BYU makes enough plays in the passing game to win this football game. I like BYU. Give me BYU over Utah. All right, next up, let's do. Oops, sorry, it's the wrong one. All right, here we go. So here's a recap of my picks real quick before we get out of here. Just a reminder, these are from the big games. I like Miami over Louisville on Friday night. And then on the Saturday games, Georgia Tech over Duke, Michigan over Washington, LSU over Vandy, It pains me to say this. Georgia over Ole Miss. I hope I'm wrong. Boise State over UNLV. Alabama over Tennessee. Notre Dame over USC. Alabama over Tennessee. Notre Dame over USC. My semi-upset, Auburn over Missouri. And then I like BYU to beat Utah. All right. Also, other games, because there's a lot of other good games that you don't see on that list that you did not see me talk about. So here we go. Friday, I like Nebraska over Minnesota. That could be a good one in the Big Ten. Some other games I made note of. Getty, George, and Bowling Green keep it going. I think they beat Central Michigan and edge closer to the MAC championship. Surprise one maybe here. Houston's only favored by 1, but I think Arizona goes into Houston and beats the Cougars. TCU Baylor, great rivalry game. I'm taking TCU. South Carolina, 5-point underdog against Oklahoma this weekend. At home, I think the Gamecocks are going to get Oklahoma at a really good time. I think they beat OU. Give me Clemson over SMU. I like Texas A&M over Arkansas. I think that could be a really good game. Don't sleep on the Pigs. Marshall over Texas State. I think that's a good one in the Sun Belt. Also, James Madison and Old Dominion. Another good Sun Belt game. Give me JMU. Texas Tech over Arizona State. This game lost some luster considering what happened to Arizona State last week. And they beat Utah. I probably would have picked that game in the preview with the image. Florida over Mississippi State. I'm not confident in that one. They lose that game, Napier. Just saying. Iowa over Penn State. I think Penn State's dead. UCLA over Maryland. I think they keep their hot streak going. And finally, Pitt, Syracuse. Fun Northeast rivalry. I like the quarterback. Give me Pittsburgh to win that game. All right. Guys, another show has come and gone. What are we at? 121? Oh, man. That's got to be a new long one for me. But these will get shorter, obviously, when the season's over with. All right, guys. So appreciate y'all tuning in. Another great show as always. Thank you to those of you who watched. We're gonna, as we always do, we will close this thing out with a Bible verse. May we also remember to stay safe out there. Hope y'all have a wonderful weekend. Next week's show, same as always, we'll recap what happened in week number 8. And then we will look ahead to week 9. And if there's any more coaches fired, we'll talk about that. Or any other news and notes. Also, injury notes. Texas A&M running back Le'Veon Moss, ankle. Looks like he will miss significant time, so that means he's out this weekend. Notre Dame has a center out for their game. Alabama running back Jam Miller. Let me see what the update is real quick before we get out of here. Or at least I thought it was going to let me. Texas Tech quarterback Raheem Morton, right leg injury. Don't know his status. Jam Miller concussion, questionable for the Tennessee game. So, a couple of injury notes for you guys. All right. So, anyway, appreciate y'all. Great show. Hope y'all enjoyed it. Stay safe out there. And we'll close with a Bible verse, John 1, verse 14. And the Word was made flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory, the glory as of only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. I will see y'all next week. Take care of yourselves. God bless.